And welcome to week 2 of our Insider Report with Orange head coach Dino Babers. The Cuse 1-0 and back home for the next 3. Wagner comes into the Dome Saturday at 3:30. Coach, a 55-42 win on the road at Western Michigan on Friday. Before we get into the mixed bag that was, first of all, any road win I know is a treat.
It's a treat. I mean, that was a good football team, and we had them in complete control. We had complete control of the game in the first half. Obviously, third quarter gets away a little bit. We get back control in the fourth. But that's an explosive football team, and anytime you can come away with a win off of an opponent that good on the road, you got to take it.
Stopped a 7-game road losing streak for Syracuse dating back to the 2016 campaign. Eric Dungy getting a lot of accolades coming out of the week. He was the quarterback of the week in the ACC. Ran for a school record, 200 yards in terms of a quarterback rushing record. What did he show you in that game that maybe you hadn't seen or that you'd only seen in the practice field and not in a game?
You know, he was just so courageous. I've seen that 1,000 times, but I really thought his leadership was outstanding. His decision-making and where he was going with the football, all the passes weren't completed, but the decisions were fantastic, and I really thought he was on top of his P's and Q's.
Well, and got the job done, getting into the end zone. You see the will. I thought the idea of coming back, leading a touchdown drive after being on the bench for a while, which also sparked the great game that Jamal Custis had. That was really the turning point and the telling point of the game.
Well, you know, and being on the sideline and we're letting other people play, and he's standing there going, all right, let me know when you want me to go ahead and put this fire out. And I'm like, okay, well, go put it out.
Yeah.
Fire out. He's a baller.
He was the starter and the relief pitcher, even if not throwing a complete game on Saturday. Let's touch on Custis quickly. In essence, a career game for him, and I know your mantra is not just occasionally great, but you want him to be consistently good. What's the key to repeating that performance?
I think the one thing I told Jamal is, hey, Jamal, you've had a fantastic week of practice. I say, if you have a fantastic week of practice, play the game like a practice. And I don't know if knowing Jamal, he may not have listened to me, but he did go out there and do it, and he did exactly what he had done in practice the last week. He made plays, he stayed focused, he was locked in. And if he can continuously do that, I think that he could have an outstanding season. You're
usually pretty good for this here, Coach. Was there anything inside the box score or, you know, that may not have been seen by the naked eye in the game Friday that has you pleased about your team, maybe something you didn't foresee?
Well, I don't know about foreseeing it. I love the physicality of the offensive line. If you guys have the game taped, go back and just watch the knockdowns, the finishes with the offensive line. I mean, it was an extremely physical game, and our offensive line really took it to their front seven. And if we can do that, if we can have that mentality, we're going to always have a chance.
Quick thought on Wagner this week. There's a team that comes in running the football. Ryan Fultz alone ran for 271 yards. It was only like 10 yards for the rest of the team, but if you got a cat that runs for 271, they must be doing something right.
Now, this guy's an All-American. He's the best player on their football team. Their quarterback is really good. Their defense is solid. We're playing a Big Ten type football team, and it's going to be good to back this up to see if we can take a physical game that we just played and now back it up with another physical game against a really good, fine FCS opponent.
Now, earlier this week, Coach, between John Wildhack, the athletics department, the Carrier Dome, really a lot of joint efforts here to meet the feedback of the fans, the expectations on game day to create and continue. It's always going to be a work in progress, a better game day environment. So with the goal of getting people kind of out there earlier, well-fed, well-rested, into the game, how does that work on your end in terms of how the fans interact with the team?
Well, obviously, we'd like to come into the game and we'd like to start fast and give them something to cheer about. We don't want them sitting on their hands. But I really believe that the community, the student body is going to embrace this football team. I think when you watch the way they play, you can appreciate it. And I just can't wait to get out there and see if we can perform for them.
Well, and particularly you alluded to the students right off the bat. It's their first opportunity. If you're a freshman or a newcomer to campus, your first crack at it this weekend.
I know I had a 10 o'clock p.m. meeting with a whole bunch of freshmen who had just got to Syracuse University. Somebody had to give me a cup of coffees to stay awake, but they seemed like they were ready to go that night. So I'm expecting all those young freshmen to be at the game, and I expect to hear you.
Well, they're just getting started at 10 p.m., and Coach will leave it at that. All right, enjoy. Well, it's a 3:30 kickoff on Saturday. Hope to see everybody in the Dome early and loud. The Orange and Seahawks as Syracuse looks to get to 2-0.